Hey everybody, welcome back to the Artosis Supercup 1. This is going to be the final match in the round robin portion. We're going to see who has the best score at the end. If PartinG wins this series, he goes undefeated, beating all three of his opponents, and thus is clearly the winner. He's going to be going up with his Infernals against Azure and the Vanguard. So we're going to get into this. Broken Crown Hinterlands, going to be our first map. And I'm excited to see how these two pair up because, our other two players kind of have very specific styles. I feel like these two are more active, right? So, well, obviously we saw if you watched the Theory versus Mixu series, Theory was pretty active in game 2. He'd put some pressure on everything, but I'm saying he likes to get into 3 base, really mass up, and then go. And Mixu feels kind of similar to that. Whereas with Azure here, bringing the Scout in, and PartinG, of course, making his Iron Vault, both these guys feel like they want to be very active on the map and engaging with their opponents a bit more, whether that's attacking, harassing, whatever it may be. Ooh, puts a lot of damage onto that imp, but of course the secondary imp will help to push that Scout back. And he is about to have, his first brute out there as well. See if PartinG just continually sends brutes across the map. I think quite likely seems to be the current metagame that we're seeing from these top players. So that brute pops out, and yeah, he will start to make his way across the map right now. Now, this is a one-base play so far. A very quick mech bay coming up from Azure. Now, we saw PartinG's power earlier against Mixu, and Mixu tried to expand right off the bat, which is a very popular Vanguard strategy, but PartinG, with his good decision-making in micro, was able to really punish Mixu for that. So rushing up here immediately into Hedgehog seems to me to be a pretty good idea from Azure. Now, you see, he's just kind of dogging the dogging. That's gonna be fun. He's dogging him with his Scout, and yeah, he's trying to slow him down. I like that PartinG took that little heal. But look, when we have the Hedgehog out, obviously you can deal with pretty much everything in the early game with Hedgehogs pretty well. Just between their speed and damage output, it seems pretty solid. So PartinG comes up all the way. He sees that it is a very quick mech bay and then turns around. And I think that obviously this is a smart play. Now, does he throw down like a Shroud Stone immediately? Because, as we have Hedgehogs pop out, they are going to start doing a really good job of harassing, of pushing, of pressuring. And brutes just can't catch them. Like, you can pop the brutes into the fiends, but you're going to need some of that static D. I think you're going to need 100% to get... Oh, wow. PartinG snags that. Gets the Luminite reward for that. So a little bit of engaging at this camp. Gets a couple shots. Trying to abuse the high ground, but you can see that Azure right now really is on top of his micro. So he loses his Scout, but does force both the pops on those brutes, and we'll see if he goes across the map now or he wants to try to chase those fiends. Right now he is chasing the fiends, a secondary Hedgehog coming out. Might want to try to steal that. Oh, I don't think he quite stole it. I think that actually went to PartinG, but he is going to be able to kill these fiends off, right? So, well, I guess not if they go in there. But of course, the fiends are losing health over time, so even if you hide them in there, it's not like they get to stay forever. They have to go do something else or just be wasted. So it looks like it's going to be mostly a Scout. Another brute coming out onto the map right there. And a lot of bobs coming down for this expansion. Looks like he wants to take this expansion super, super fast. So he's using a huge amount of bobs to construct it. Of course, that makes it construct quite a bit quicker. The Hedgehog count is getting pretty reasonably high right now. He's going to go ahead and take out PartinG's Vision Camp over here. Couple of fiends coming up for the harassment still. Of course, again, the Hedgehog can deal with this relatively easily. Takes a little bit to kill the fiends, but no real chance of the Hedgehog going down. And no big changes in Azure's base there either. So we have the double Shroud Stone here to kind of help out. And yeah, taking that third base at the moment. I think we had a couple production structures going up there, but wasn't sure exactly what we were going to see. Iron Vaults. Okay, Iron Vault, and I clicked on that a little bit too quick. Some of these, I'll get used to eventually what the buildings look like while they're building. Honestly, I'm not even sure that all of them look different. But, oh, a Shadow Cleft coming up. Okay, so does want to get some of those upgrades as well. Maybe he wants the Mass Fiends coming. We'll see. Another Shroud Stone. And you can see a lot of Shroud Stones being made. And I think that this is a pretty smart play from PartinG. It's pretty surprising how much damage those Hedgehogs really can do. Now, setting up a sentry post here, right? It looks like he wants to get some harassment onto this Luminite. Shroud Stones being built a little bit further back, trying to keep them out of that Hedgehog range. But what we're probably going to need to see from PartinG, like this is going to get up, and I think he's just going to go ahead and throw a Pooch in there and be able to have that vision up. So that, look at that, the Hedgehog trying to climb the hill, you know, try to just hit the miners there a little bit. But as PartinG masses up his brutes, he may be able to come out and surround all of this, right? Like if he can surround it all, with his fiends and just knock it all out, that's going to set Azure back a bit, I think. Now, some fiend harassment coming up. Looks like that's what he decides to do with those brutes he had, and they get cleaned really, really quickly. So great defense there from Azure. Yeah, looks like that is going to be taken down. Not going to be able to do too much more. Oh, he might actually end up losing a Bob. Maybe a little bit sloppy there. But looks like that one sentry post did end up getting taken down. You know, he didn't really have anything to put in that to fire. Really, you'd need like an Exo to really make that super strong. We did see that already in this tournament as well, an Exo going in there. Pretty strong, but you have to go down this kind of like different tech route. So gonna go ahead and make just another another sentry array, as it's called, sentry array, that's right, out of that sentry post. Okay, so a lot of brutes come out. He does pop them as soon as he sees these, and looks like he wants to go after the Bobs. Maybe take those Bobs out, take out the sentry post as well. Doesn't want to deal with that hitting his Luminite patches at all. You know, sacrificing quite a few of his units. But you know what? With the amount of Bobs he's taking out, and look, an Exo was coming. So this was, I like this play from Azure. You see how active he's trying to be, how he's trying to keep a lot of pressure onto PartinG here. But yeah, the Exo wasn't able to make it down in time, and PartinG having very good timing in clearing that. Now, we do see the third base being made for Azure. I think that's very important for him right now, because PartinG already has had his third base up for a while, adding more Iron Vaults even at the moment. And he is getting ready to take that fourth base as well. So mass Iron Vaults. I assume he's got to have the 4 Fiends pop out of me when you split me brute upgrade. Can't remember the name of that right at this moment. But yeah, Shroud Stones going up ahead of time. You want to get those started. And luckily the Hedgehogs aren't here, because if the Hedgehogs happen to be down here right now, he would cancel this all out in a matter of seconds. When buildings are building, Hedgehogs really crush. Now, lots of Fiends coming up from PartinG. He's going to go ahead, take this Vision Camp over. And this Vision Camp is really helpful, actually, when you're taking that as a base, that bottom right, because it shows you most of the entry to it. Not 100%, but most of the entry. And it looks like we're going to see the same from Azure as he takes out his own Vision Camp. Now, it's going to be pretty soon 4 base against 3, with PartinG being up just a little bit in that. PartinG staying pretty basic on his unit composition right now, just massing those brutes up, very similar to what we saw from Theory previously. Azure still roaming around with his Hedgehogs, seeing, you know, picking off what he can. He's been really, really efficient, I think you could say, right? Like, what we're seeing, we don't have any, like, great observing tools yet, since this is so early on, but, like, if you saw, like, one of these resource loss tabs, like you can see in a StarCraft 2 cast, like, it would be absurd right now. There have been so many brutes and fiends that have fallen, and like, I don't know if a Hedgehog has died yet. Right? We've had some Bobs die. Yeah, I think probably like we had an Exo die or something. Oh, Spriggans. Okay, it's time finally. One of my favorite units. I don't know what you would liken it to. Kind of like a Mutalisk. Maybe not quite as strong, but basically the Spriggan can attack air or ground. It's super mobile, flying unit. The thing is, they are very expensive as far as Therian goes, so that can be a bit of an issue. Ooh, big split here, by the way. And honestly, I think that Azure dealt with that perfectly. Now, one thing about the Spriggans, right? They are very, very mobile. They don't do that much damage. The thing is, a lot of the powerful units for Vanguard don't shoot air, but hedgehogs do shoot air. And if you actually start making exos, you'll start to crush these as well. So this is just going to be some harassment. Again, somewhat like Mutalisks in StarCraft, right? Comes up here, kills a couple bobs already, stopping a lot of this mining. You can see the overcharge to try to give them a little bit more sustainability, and they will do that. But obviously, as the hedgehogs come up, they can deal some damage to the Spriggans. Again, one thing about Spriggans, they are very expensive on that Therium. So, you know, you can get these out, and they pair well with the mass brute strategy because brutes only cost Luminite. So that is one way to spend a bunch of your extra resources. But as you can see, they came in, they were really good at first, but now that we have some defense here, the Spriggans having a much harder time. Now, another big pop of a ton of brutes gets in here. This is a lot of fiends right now surrounding some of these towers. The Lancers, I think, are going to do a reasonable job here, excuse me, but the big infest going down. So if they start to kill some of these, it might get out of control pretty quickly. But no, it looks like just about everything lives, and the Spriggans are starting to die. Does try the infest there. Is he even going to kill one? He's just barely going to do so, but obviously that fiend gets taken out immediately. 3 more Spriggans coming up. You know, PartinG has a big economy. He's going to set up another base here that's just for Therium. You know, he's been spending a ton of Therium on these Spriggans. I don't know if we're going to continually see those, though. Like, are you going to keep making the Spriggans? I'm not so sure. Like, we have a flat cannon up there, and that's going to be able to range them out pretty well. And if you're going to get into like exos and medtechs and stuff, like obviously the Spriggans can't hold up against that. You know, maybe again, like forcing your opponent to stay more into the hedgehogs. You can get a hedgehog like anti-air upgrade that turns it into basically like a missile turret that shoots faster. But you know, as we get later into the game, I feel like the hedgehogs are more of an early and mid game unit. Not that they're bad in that late game by any means, but it seems like when we start getting really big supply counts, the swarming nature of Infernals makes it harder to utilize these hedgehogs, right? Like they still have cost efficiency, but like how many of them are you going to micro against 100 fiends coming after you? It doesn't seem like the greatest usage of your production time, where you might want to be making things like Vulcans instead. Now, anyways, we had a huge split into a ton of fiends. He thought there was going to be a 4th base there. There's not. Going to go ahead and attack over into this base. You can see that flat cannon dealing a lot of damage. The Lancers and Exos coming down. And, well, the Bobs are trying to run away here. It does seem, once again, like Azure has a very efficient army, and he's losing almost nothing, but the Fiends are trying to kill the command post. Command post getting very low and just barely saves it. But in the meantime, PartinG moving in with his Spriggans, trying to do some harass. He's going to take down a habitat, maybe go after some of the Bobs as well, but that flat cannon is putting damage out. It is making it very hard for these Spriggans to stay alive. And as you see, these hedgehogs come up and will be able to blow up a few of them, pushing them back into one of these like kind of neutral areas they can't quite hit. Now more fiends coming up. He's trying to pick off his command post once again. Oh my god, he gets the command post this time. Azure is going to be unhappy with that. That is too bad. If he had maybe repaired that up a bit more or blocked off that area a bit more, that would have been a very wasteful attack. But in the meantime, you can see PartinG is throwing down a lot of conclaves. So my guess with the conclaves is he's going to go into gaunts. Who knows? Like maybe he wants to go into weavers at this point. We did see some cool weaver usage earlier on. Now the Spriggans coming in once again, harassing this Therium production that we have in the main base. Gonna take out quite a few of those. And you know what? Like the Spriggans, they're expensive. I feel like he's done a pretty good job with them. Even though there's been like enough anti-air that they can't really stay for too long. Like he flies in, kills some Bobs, keeps him busy, that type of thing. And several times it's forced Azure out of position enough that PartinG has come in and done damage elsewhere. So yeah, it really seems like these Spriggans have done a fantastic job. I wonder if because he keeps sitting them in these kind of these airspaces that he can't reach, like maybe he should actually get a few Hornets to try to take them out. Not exactly sure, honestly. I haven't really seen Hornets versus Spriggans yet, so I feel like Hornets haven't been that popular, at least in the games that I've played. So I'm not exactly sure how that matchup would go as via kind of the excitement of a new RTS, an RTS just coming out, still being changed a whole lot. How are these different unit matchups going to go? Really fun and exciting figuring that out. The Spriggans coming once again into the Ethereum and killing off some more Bobs as well. Having to be pulled back, and look at this, a huge move here. Jumps in with those Magmadons and splits everything off. He does have a good amount of gaunts in here. Oh my god, just try to right-click this command post and will end up taking that down. Very painful indeed. Infesting right now with the gaunts as well. But honestly, looking at the army, this is like a scary army from Azure, but PartinG is killing everything. Dude, oh my god, he is killed off 2 command posts. So now Azure's economy is basically dead. But PartinG gave up a huge chunk of his army. Still looks like a reasonable army he has in the center. And he does have 4-ish base, a little bit more Ethereum than 4 base. But yeah, it's a very good-looking army that we have right now from Azure. And he's going to start to push forward here. You can see doing a really good job. That Magmadon not going to have much chance. Oh my god, he actually comes out with the Doombringers and lands them. I don't think he really brought anything in there, but maybe he just wants the white health from them. Haven't really seen this utilized, and it doesn't seem like it does that much. The Doombringer is going to have to lift off back into the air and fly away. And, well, yeah, it looks like splitting once again into quite a few Fiends. I don't know that we actually have enough here for our Vanguard player, right? It's like 3 med techs. We got a Hedgehog there that's being healed. Yeah, everything is kind of being eliminated. And Azure is going to GG. No economy left behind this as he loses his army. So a very cool game number 1 here from both players. PartinG goes up 1-0. All right, so getting into our second map here between Azure and PartinG. PartinG leading 1-0 in this best of 3. We're going into Secluded Grove. And we have PartinG starting up here in the top right. Is Iron Vault already on the way as per the usual? And then over down in the bottom left, we have Azure, and we're going to see what he wants to try to accomplish this game. Honestly, I think he put out like a really cool game against PartinG. It's some of these, it feels like what I'm watching for the most part in Vanguard versus Infernals is if Vanguard seems to be more cost efficient, but if they get out of position, Fiends kill things very, very quickly. And that seems to be a little bit hard to deal with. So whether that is tightening up defenses, maybe more defensive towers, try to grind through that perhaps and get up to that massive army composition that can take down the full force of mass Fiends from Infernals. Yeah, it's hard to say what the answer is going to be, but I'm hoping that Azure can start to figure it out here in this game. Bringing his scout up, did scout around the center of the map a little bit, and just looking around for any imps that might be down there that he can maybe kill off. Goes down, checks the speed camp. Not exactly sure why, but we'll go ahead and back up through those small trees and eventually see that a shrine is on the way. Kind of as expected, I would say. The Brute going across the map right now, and he's going to figure out what this opening build order is. Of course, a meat farm coming up there for PartinG. As Azure continues to scout around the map, pick up any little resources that he can. And the Brute, yeah, he's going to be looking. It's like, okay, do you have an expansion? And the answer is going to be no. The mech bay. Okay, so what we see right here is it was barracks, because barracks opens up the ability to make mech bay, but then he sold the barracks. And currently, I believe you get 100% money back for selling a building. I doubt that things will stay that way. But yeah, he gets rid of that, and that's going to allow him to expand more quickly. So it should be 1 factory hedgehogs for quite some time while expanding here for Azure. And I think that seems like a really reasonable idea. Ooh! Okay, I'm not actually sure which way that went. But I like the idea from Azure. I do. It looks like these Fiends going to try to chase him down. Of course, as the hedgehog comes up, Going to be a little bit harder. He's going to definitely end up losing these fiends, but he might end up getting the scout. Oh, he tries to run around the hedgehog over and over. Not going to end up working. So a little bit of a trade there. And now with the hedgehog, the pressure can begin at least a little bit. PartinG definitely going to need to get down this defense. You can see the double shroud stones going up in both locations. He's going to be able to cancel some out over here, perhaps. Oh, looks like he's just late with that hedgehog. So very quickly done. And he will do that same type of strategy here that we saw from Theory, closing off both sides. Now, we saw previously a really cool idea where these trees were knocked down to try to attack in. This is kind of cool. He's taking down the resource camp up there with the brute. But I feel like that was definitely a good idea. Instead of ramming your head into the static D of the Infernal player all day, bringing up a Bob, working through those trees, and maybe harassing the third base slightly. We'll see if that's what Azure wants to do. Or, you know, another thing that you could do here is Azure is just expand again, right? Like your opponent is spending a lot of resources, a lot of his imps, on making sure that your hedgehogs can't just ravage him. So you could just go ahead and throw down a third command post. We'll see what Azure is up to and what he wants to do. More iron vaults are going to be coming up. So PartinG trying to scale that production a little bit. No meat farms in the front here, by the way. He's actually utilizing that brute very similar to what the meat farm would do, where the fell hogs pop out and those kind of zone you out. That's what he's doing with that brute right now. I guess he decided that it is better to utilize a brute rather than sacrifice an imp for that meat farm that you may not need as of yet. Those types of little optimizations are going to be really fun things, I think, to figure out where it's like, okay, how do we exactly want to balance this economy? Like, do you want to just spend your imps all willy-nilly, or do you want to maybe sacrifice some units to make sure that you get more of your miners actually going? And I like that. I like that from PartinG. That seems like a very StarCraft-esque call. Now, the barracks has been remade. Looks like he's going to go ahead and make a sentry post up here. Probably just throw that Bob in for the repair-o-matic so he can continually run up, attack these shroud stones, right? Just like that. And then go back and repair. He actually comes way too fast before he reloads, so takes a few more hits than he really should have there, but that's okay. He takes down the shroud stone, which is important. Wants to get some more volleys off, and you can see just how quickly he's starting to take these down. I wonder, right? Okay, so PartinG behind this is going to throw down another shroud stone, but it feels like right now Azure is making some progress, right? Like he's getting more hedgehogs up here. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another mech bay up because he did make that barracks once again, so he can kind of get that going. Repair-o-matic starting to work on these. Obviously, as he regains health, that's going to be great. I would love to see him get these hedgehogs back in there and shoot their missiles off, right? Because they do have that reload time. You can see the 4 missiles on top. You want to shoot them all and then back up. So even if you're healing, I think this is a good situation. Now, yeah, it does a little infest there. Always a good move if you're going to kill any of those off as well. But you can see how quickly the repair-o-matic also is healing up these hedgehogs. Now, quite a few fiends going across the map. He sent these out in a different direction. Actually, I think he just caught a Bob right there, so should know that those are there. That's a little bit unfortunate for PartinG. I think he wanted to go in and do something else, but now he splits everything, and he's going to take out the repair-o-matic. He's going to sacrifice some of these to buy time against the hedgehogs, and then take out this sentry post. So that was quite a nice move there. Gonna get the Bob as well, so no more of this repairing the hedgehogs during their pressure. At least not with the repair-o-matic so far forward. And now we have some fiends that have been sent off. Looks like they're going to look for the third base, but there is no third base. A lot of Lancers are being made, and definitely the Lancers are going to be pretty strong. I do like Lancers quite a bit against those fiends. I think that they're a good base, both for tanking the hits and dealing damage to those fiends. See some really good micro from Azure here as he tries to take out that level 2 vision camp. Always nice to get. It kind of shows you what your opponent is up to a little bit on that side. Now, the fiends try to come in and get some surrounds, and they are going to not quite kill that Bob that they were targeting. It got very low, but that does get saved there by the Lancers and the overcharge. More and more brutes piling out right now. All right. Up come the Lancers. And now he's going to dive in. The Hedgehog's going to go after that Shroud Stone. They wipe it really, really quickly. I feel like Azure might be onto something here. Brings up a ton of Lancers. Oh my god, he actually gets that one without it popping. Now, he is fighting on the Shroud, so the Shroud is going to add that additional white health, which is making those a lot stronger, but he actually pops them almost immediately, kind of surprisingly. Does the Infest there as well, trying to overwhelm through these Lancers at the moment. He's getting a few more, and the flank that comes in, as well as the Magmadon sliding in on top of everything for that stun, doing absolutely fantastically. And don't forget that behind this, we only have 2 bases for Azure, so he's going to lose his entire army on 2 bases. This is bad. Azure GG's, and that means that PartinG, with 3 victories over all of his opponents, will end up taking this one down. Fury going to be in 2nd place, and 3rd and 4th going to Mixu and Azure. Guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this little first cup that we have done. Thank you very much for watching. A big thanks to the players. Of course, Mapu did all the observing and setting up of the tournament and the naming of the wonderful Artosis Supercup 1. But a big thank you to everyone involved, and I hope that you have enjoyed. Thanks for watching.